Have you ever been surrounded by people and still felt completely alone? Not because there wasn't anyone around you, but because you felt like no one truly saw you. You were there, but you just felt so invisible. Maybe you've walked into work with a smile on your face while carrying a burden no one knew about. Or maybe you've laughed at dinner with family. Sounds familiar? Or yet drove home feeling emotionally empty, emotionally drained. Maybe you spent hours strolling through social media, seeing everyone else's vacations, engagements, promotions, only to put your phone down feeling more disconnected than when you picked it up. Or maybe you're single and you've wondered, will I always feel this way? If any of that sounds familiar, I want you to know something before I proceed any further. You are not alone, and there is hope. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Blu Mindz Podcast. I'm your host, Blue Baby, and every week we have real conversations that challenge us to think deeper, heal intentionally, and grow together. Today's conversation is one that's been on my heart for some time now because I don't believe loneliness is simply about being alone. I believe it's about feeling unseen, unheard, the invisible, and disconnected in a world that's constantly telling us we're more connected than ever. And while preparing for this episode, I came across something that really made me think a little more. In 2023, the U.S. Surgeon General issued a national advisory warning that loneliness and social isolation have become a serious public health concern. Think about that. The nation's top doctor wasn't warning us about a new virus. He was reminding us that meaningful human connection is essential. It's essential to our health and our well being. And that tells me that this isn't just a personal struggle. It's something that millions of people are experiencing right now: young adults, parents, married couples, single adults, teenagers, retirees, successful professionals, people that are sitting in churches every single Sunday, people sitting in crowded offices on Mondays, people who look perfectly fine on the outside while quietly struggling on the inside. So today, I don't want to just talk about loneliness. I want to talk about how do we reconnect in a disconnected world. We'll talk about why loneliness has become so common, how social media can sometimes leave us feeling more isolated than connected, and why being single can make loneliness feel especially heavy. How changing family dynamics have affected our relationships, and most importantly, what practical steps we can take to build meaningful connections again. Because I believe something with my whole heart. No one was created to walk through life alone. Well, when you hear the word loneliness, what comes to mind? Maybe someone sitting alone in a room, someone with no family, no friends, no one to call. But what if I told you that's only one picture of loneliness? There's many other pictures. One of the most important things I learned while preparing for this episode as well came from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The CDC explained that social isolation and loneliness, they're not the same thing. You see, social isolation is about the number of social connections that a person has, while loneliness, on the other hand, is about how connected a person feels. So that means that you can spend your entire day around people and still go home feeling completely alone. And that changed my perspective because I then realized that this conversation isn't about the number of people in our lives, not how many people that's in your phone under contacts. It's about whether we feel truly known. And think about that for a moment. Who really knows your heart? Who knows what keeps you up at night? Who even knows what you've been praying about? Who noticed if your smile wasn't quite as genuine as it usually is? Now, let me ask another question. Who do you really know? Not just what they do for a living, what they post online, but who are people beneath the surface? Somewhere along the way, many of us became really good at communicating, but we stopped connecting. We ask, "How are you?" And before the other person finishes answering, we're already thinking about the next thing on our schedule. We do this all the time. We hear, "I'm fine," and then we move on. But what if "I'm fine" really means I'm overwhelmed? I'm completely exhausted, or I'm grieving, or I'm just struggling right now. I just don't know how to tell anyone. What if the greatest struggle someone is carrying today is the one that no one can see? Loneliness isn't always the absence of people. Sometimes it's the absence of feeling truly known. I think one of the greatest challenges of our time isn't that we've stopped talking, it's that we've stopped slowing down long enough to truly listen. We've become efficient communicators, but meaningful connection still requires something technology will never replace. And that's time, presence, curiosity, compassion. So if loneliness isn't simply about being alone, what changed? Why do so many people feel disconnected today? Let's talk about that. How do we become so disconnected? I don't think there was one moment when everything changed. I really don't. I think it happened quietly. It was kind of sneaky. Life became faster, schedules became fuller, expectations became heavier, and we became more productive, but often less present. Think about how many mornings began before our feet even touch the floor. We're checking emails, reading text messages, we're looking at the news, we're scrolling through the social media, we are reviewing our calendars and responding to notifications before we've even said good morning to the people around us. Our attention already belongs to something else. Technology, it isn't the enemy. I'm grateful that I can video chat with my family who lives far away. I'm grateful friendships can continue across states and countries. I'm grateful we can learn, grow, and share our lives with each other. But technology is a wonderful tool, but it was never meant to replace genuine relationships. Communication has become easier, connection still takes intention. Then there's another reality that we don't want to talk about. Community has changed. Many of us no longer know our neighbors. Family dinners happen less often. People move away for school, careers, or new opportunities, and some work from home, others, they work two jobs just to keep up. I mean, this is a time where many people are struggling. Many people genuinely want deeper relationships. They just don't know where to find the time. And none of these changes are wrong by themselves, but together, they've quietly changed the way we experience relationships. That brings us to one of the biggest places this disconnection shows up today, and that's on social media. The social media paradox. Let's talk honestly about social media. First, I want to say this. I don't believe social media is all bad. In fact, some of my favorite moments have happened because of it. I've been able to reconnect with people I haven't spoken to in years. I've watched friends celebrate weddings, new babies, graduations, and new careers. I've learned new things. I've laughed. I've cried. I've been inspired. Social media can be an incredible tool, but like any tool, it depends on how we use it. Because if we're not careful, it can slowly convince us that everyone else's life is better than ours. We scroll through beautiful vacations, happy couples, new homes, promotions, perfect family pictures, and smiling faces. But here's what we have to remember: most people aren't posting their hardest moments. They're not posting the argument that happened before that family photo. They're not posting the anxiety that kept them awake last night. They're not posting the financial stress, the loneliness, the fear, the uncertainty. They're sharing highlights, not their entire story. And when we compare our everyday lives to someone else's highlight reel, comparison quietly steals our joy. It whispers, "You're behind." Everyone else is happier. It's that little voice. Everyone else has more friends. Everyone else has life figured out. But that's not simply true. Every single one of us is fighting a battle that someone else can't see. It's the invisible. So here's my encouragement: use social media. Don't let social media use you. Follow people who inspire growth instead of comparison. Unfollow accounts that consistently leave you feeling discouraged or like you're never enough. Set healthy boundaries. It's okay to put your phone down. It's okay to take a break. It's okay to protect your peace. That's most important. And here's one challenge I'd like to leave with you. The next time you think about sending a text, ask yourself if maybe that conversation deserves a phone call instead, or even better, a cup of coffee. Because no number of likes, comments, or followers can ever replace sitting across from someone who genuinely cares about you. The people who know your profile are always the people who know your heart. And one place social media can make loneliness feel especially personal is in singleness. I want to speak directly to those of you who are single because loneliness can feel especially loud in this season. Maybe you open social media and see engagement announcements, wedding pictures, family vacations, date nights, baby announcements. And after seeing enough of those, you begin wondering, when will it be my turn? If you've ever felt that way, I want you to hear me and hear me loudly. There is nothing wrong with wanting companionship. We were created for relationship. It's natural to desire someone to share life with, but your relationship status has never determined your worth. Being single doesn't mean that you're incomplete. It doesn't mean you've missed your chance. And it certainly doesn't mean your life is on hold. One of the greatest mistakes we can make is waiting to live until life looks the way we imagine it. Don't postpone your joy. Don't postpone your dreams. Don't postpone becoming the person God is shaping you to be. Travel, learn something new, invest in friendships, volunteer, serve your community, spend time with family, develop your gifts, strengthen your relationship with God, read, exercise, laugh, create memories, build a life you're proud of today. Because healthy relationships aren't built by two people hoping someone else will complete them. Healthy relationships aren't built by two whole people who choose to build a life together. And if you're struggling with loneliness because you're single, don't carry that feeling into silence. Talk to someone you trust. Join a small group. Connect with your church or your community. Invite someone to lunch. Sometimes healing begins with simply being willing to say, "I've been feeling lonely lately." You may be surprised how many people respond with, "Me too." Your relationship status may describe your season, but it never defines your worth. As we move from singleness into family and close relationships, I want to share something personal. I keep my phone close almost all the time, not because I'm waiting for work, not because I'm expecting an email. I keep it close because I never want to miss a call from someone that I truly love. And maybe you can relate to that. The world feels different than it used to. I mean, every day we wake up, there's another headline, another tragedy, another reminder that life can change in an instant, in a snap of a finger. So, without even realizing it, many of us have started living on alert. We check our phones, we check on our loved ones. We just want to know that they're okay. And as a mother, I don't think that feeling ever goes away. My children are adults now. They're building careers, making decisions, living their own lives. But whenever my phone rings and I see one of their names, I'm answering. Sometimes they're calling because something wonderful happened, or they're looking for advice, or maybe they don't even need anything at all. They just simply want to hear my voice. And honestly, those are some of my favorite conversations because they remind me that no matter how old we become, we never outgrow our need for connection. We all need a safe place, someone we can laugh with, cry with, pray with, someone who knows us beyond our titles, our accomplishments, and the image we present to the world. As I thought about that, my heart went somewhere else. What about the people who don't have that person? The young adult who just moved away from home, the military spouse living far from family, or the widow whose house has become painfully quiet, the caregiver who's so busy taking care of everyone else that no one notices they're exhausted, or the father carrying financial pressure while convincing everyone he's fine, that teenager who walks crowded hallways every day but yet still feels invisible. How many people are hoping their phone rings today? How many are silently wishing someone would ask, "How are you really?" Not because they're looking for someone to fix every problem, but because they're hoping someone cares enough to listen. And there's something else I think that we need to acknowledge. Family has changed for some people. Family is still their greatest source of strength. And for others, family has become complicated. Some families are still separated by distance, and some of them just have really busy schedules, some by divorce, some by conflict, grief, addiction, silence that lasts for years. And for some people, family is no longer the people they were born into. It's the people they found along the way, close friends, church family, neighbors, mentors, co-workers, people who choose to stay. And if that's your life story, I want you to know that that's okay. Family can be built through love as much as it can through blood. What matters most is having people who know you, having those people who really care about you and show up when life gets difficult. But here's something I've learned: healthy relationships don't happen automatically, they require intention. Sometimes they require forgiveness, sometimes they require humility, and sometimes they require us to be the first one to pick up the phone, to apologize, to extend grace, to rebuild trust one conversation at a time. Not every relationship can be restored. Some relationships are unhealthy, abusive, or unsafe, and creating healthy boundaries is an act of wisdom, not failure. But where restoration is possible, don't let pride have that final word. Life is simply too short. The strongest relationships aren't built by people who never hurt each other. They're built by people who choose grace, honesty, and love again, again, and again. One of the things that encouraged me most while preparing for this episode was realizing that loneliness doesn't have to be permanent. Feeling lonely today doesn't mean you'll feel lonely forever. Connection can be rebuilt. Understand that friendships can begin. You can meet new people. Families can heal. They can pray together and heal. Communities can grow, and hope can return. The American Psychological Association has highlighted that supportive relationships help people manage stress and build resilience during difficult seasons. That tells me something that's really beautiful. Healing rarely happens in complete isolation. A lot of times we like to isolate ourselves. Healing often happens in safe relationships and honest conversations and moments where someone finally says, "You don't have to carry this by yourself anymore." If your faith is important to you, I also want to encourage you with this. Throughout scripture, we see that God created us for relationship, right? With Him and with one another. There were moments when Jesus intentionally spent time alone in prayer, but He didn't live in isolation. He walked with people, He listened to people, He shared meals with people, He wept with people, He celebrated with people. There's a difference between healthy solitude and unhealthy isolation. Solitude can restore us, but isolation can slowly convince us that nobody cares, which can too run you into a depression. So don't believe that lie. There are people who care. Sometimes we just have to take that first step toward them. Sometimes the bravest thing you'll ever say is, "I've been feeling lonely." And sometimes the most healing words you'll ever hear are, "Me too." With that hope in mind, let's bring this conversation home with practical steps we can begin taking as soon as this week. So, after everything we've talked about today, the question becomes, now what? How do we reconnect? How do we build meaningful relationships in a world that always seems to be in a hurry? I don't believe the answer is found in one big moment. I believe it's found in small intentional choices that we make each and every day. And choice one is to slow down. We become so busy moving from one responsibility to the next that we sometimes miss the people standing right there in front of us. So put the phone down for a little while. Look people into their eyes. Ask a question and stay long enough to hear the answer. Another choice is go first. Don't wait for everyone else to call you. Be the one who reaches out. Be the one who says, "I was thinking about you. Would you like to grab coffee or tea? Or how have you really been?" You might be surprised how many people were hoping that someone would make the first move. Another choice is build community intentionally. Community rarely happens by accident. If you're waiting for people to find you, you may be waiting for a very long time. Join a Bible study. Join a small group. Volunteer for a cause you care about. Take a class. Join a walking group. Attend community events. Become a regular somewhere, a coffee shop, their Starbucks, Barnes and Nobles, a fitness class, your place of worship, a neighborhood event. Relationships often grow through repeated ordinary moments. Choice number four, make room for joy. Sometimes when we're lonely, we stop living, we wait. We tell ourselves, "I'll travel when I meet someone," or "I'll go to that restaurant when I have a partner. I'll start enjoying life someday, just not today." Don't put your life on pause. Take that trip, take that class, visit the museum, read that book, watch the sunrise. It's the little things. Take yourself to lunch if you have to. Your life has value today, not someday. Another choice, care for your mental and emotional health. If loneliness has become constant and if it's affecting your sleep, your appetite, work, relationships, or your hope, please don't carry it by yourself. Talk to someone you trust. Reach out to a licensed mental health professional. Speak with your pastor, faith leader, or another trusted mentor that's a part of your life. Asking for help isn't a sign of weakness. We talked about that in another episode. Sometimes it's the strongest decision you'll ever make. Healing isn't something to be ashamed of. Healing is something to pursue. Strength isn't pretending you're okay. Strength is having the courage to say, "I need someone to walk with me." And before we close today, I love for us to do something together. Not next month, not when life slows down, but this week. For the next 7 days, I want to challenge you to reconnect intentionally. Day one, maybe you can call someone you've been meaning to call, not a text now, but a real conversation. Day two, eat one meal without your phone and be fully present. You know, phones can be a distraction sometimes. Day three, encourage someone. Send a message that builds them up and tells them why they matter. You'd be surprised how much of a difference that you could make in someone else's life just by doing that. Day four, meet someone in person for coffee or a walk or a shared meal. Day five, take a break from social media for a few hours and replace scrolling with something restorative. Day six, do one act of kindness for someone who can't repay you. And finally, day seven, spend quiet moments reflecting, journaling, or praying about who helped you feel connected and who you want to invest in moving forward. And day seven, spend quiet moments reflecting, journaling, or praying about who helped you feel connected and who you want to invest in moving forward. Because relationships don't become stronger by accident, they become stronger through intention. And as we come to the end of today's conversation, I want to take you back to the very first question I asked. And that question was, have you ever felt lonely, even when you weren't alone? And if your answer was yes, I hope you leave today knowing this. There is nothing wrong with you. Feeling lonely doesn't mean you failed. It doesn't mean that you're broken. And it certainly doesn't mean you're beyond hope. Sometimes it simply means your heart is longing for the connection it was created to have. So remember, the greatest struggle someone is carrying may be the one that you can't see. So choose kindness and choose compassion, choose curiosity and choose presence. Call the friend that you've been thinking about. Forgive where healing is possible and invest in your family. Protect your friendships. Put your phone down once in a while and look someone into the eye. And if you're the one who's hurting, don't suffer in silence. There is courage in asking for help. There is strength in reaching out. And there is hope in taking the first step toward connection. Maybe we can't change the world, but we can change someone's world by making sure they never feel like they have to walk through this thing called life alone. So before you go, here's my question. Who are you going to reconnect with this week? I'd love to hear your answer. Leave a comment and let's encourage one another. If today's conversation spoke to your heart, would you share it with someone you care about? Because someone you know may need this reminder right now. If no one has told you today that you matter, then let me be the one. You matter. Your story matters. Your voice matters. Your very existence matters. And whatever season of your life you're in, you don't have to walk through it alone. Until next time, keep growing, keep healing, keep choosing connection. I'm Blue Baby, and this is Blu Mindz, where real conversations challenge us to think deeper, heal intentionally, and grow together. God bless you. Take care of yourself and take care of the people that you love. And remember, you were never meant to walk through life alone. Meet me here next Tuesday.